Okay, so this video is going to be tips and advice and things I wish I knew about breastfeeding. My son, I went into breastfeeding my son with a negative look on it because I was the first one to breastfeed and who knows how long. My great-grandmother couldn't breastfeed. My grandmother didn't even try to breastfeed. My mother couldn't breastfeed. So I went into it thinking I won't be able to. So anything that went wrong, I'm like, I knew it. I could breastfeed. But I really wanted to. So with my son at the hospital, he wasn't latching on. So they gave me a clear breastfeeding shield. And you put it on your nipple. And so if they're having trouble latching on, it's like a straw. Because it goes around your nipple and it goes to like a point so they can pull it out easier. And it did work and it helped. And I felt so good that it worked. And the nurse told me that if you just keep using this, your nipples will get used to the tugging and they'll make it easier and they'll be looser while you're breastfeeding so they can pull easier. Which didn't really happen. I constantly, for the 3-4 months I breastfed him, I constantly just had to use that, which the nurse towards the end told me. She was like, try doing it regular, like no shield. Your body will change to let you breastfeed, usually. So while I was there, she had me do it, and he was able to latch on. Took a lot of work, but he was able to latch on, and then I tried it once we left, and he wouldn't latch on. And it was just very stressful, and I highly recommend, if you can, don't use the shield, because it's hard to use it for one, because you have to carry it around everywhere you go, and it gets dirty because there's milk in there, and if you can't wash it right away, it's gross. You gotta find a way to wash it, so it's just more of a hassle. I would really suggest just put in the work and just really try. Not everybody will be able to, but if you can, try. And then when my son was about 3-4 months old, he wasn't sleeping very good at night. He was in like that fussy stage at night where he wasn't wanting to sleep, and I'd have to wake up and breastfeed him, and it was pretty selfish, but I was like, well, maybe if I give him formula at night, he will he will sleep better, and then I'll just breastfeed him during the day, because I really wanted to breastfeed him. At night it was hard, because I was like, he's not getting enough milk. And I called the nurse, and I was like, I don't think he's getting enough milk. She's like, no, trust me, he's fine. And I told her my formula idea, and she said, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. Keep with breastfeeding, you're fine. Don't worry about it. If there's issues, you'll know, and we'll know at the checkup if his weight's not right. And so I heard that, but I thought I knew everything, and I'm like, no, it'll be fine. I'll breastfeed him at night. I will give him formula at night and breastfeed during the day. Within the first night of giving him formula, which was like the next day, I was already short, like the next morning. And within like a day to 2 days, it was gone. I could only, if I squeezed my boob a little bit, would come out, but that's it. So I lost it. Camilo. And so my son just jumped on the camera. And so I went to like a lactation consultant to learn how to fix it. But it was very hard. It's very hard to build your milk supply. At least it was for me. It was just difficult. So then when I had my daughter, about 2.5 years later, I was determined not to make that same mistake, because I regretted it. And she is 6 months old, and I'm still breastfeeding. But with her this time, I never needed the shield. At the hospital, I went to go feed her for the first time, and she latched on, and it was fine. But with her, I had horrible pains in my nipples. Like, my nipples turned purple. Like, parts of it turned purple. It, like, bled just a little bit, like a drop, but still, that's not, you're like, oh my gosh, my nipples are bleeding. So it was very, very painful for some reason. And also, this is something that changed with my daughter that wasn't with my son. When I breastfed, I had horrible, horrible cramps. And it was awful. And I kept telling my boyfriend, I was like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can do this. My nipples hurt so bad. My stomach hurt so bad. And I didn't know what to do because I knew I would regret it if I stopped breastfeeding her. But it was so painful. And especially the stomach thing. But the nipples, really, too. Which actually I did use the shield a couple times when my nipples got really bad, because for some reason it's like she was latching weird and only like half of it, and it was just really weird. So I used the shield when they were like extremely painful. I did it for like 2 days. I'd use the shield to kind of give them a rest so it wasn't direct contact, so it wouldn't be so painful, and it'd be like more of an even suck because it'd be around my nipple, which seemed it did help heal them. And then I just paid very close attention to how she latched, and that seemed to fix the issue. So, try that. If you are struggling... What is this? Hold on 1 second. So, if you are struggling with painful nipples, I would suggest lots and lots of nipple cream. And if you think it's a latch issue, it's very hard to fix a latch issue with painful nipples. Because even if they're latching right, it'll be so painful because they're already sore. So look into those shields. You can get them at Walmart and Meijer is the 2 places I've seen them, but I haven't really looked much. So try getting one of those nipple shields if they are very, very painful. And it helped because it healed the nipples because it wasn't so rough on them with that shield on. And then once they were healed... Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And then once they were healed, I paid very close attention to the latch, and it was fine. And I didn't have the issue no more. But it hurt because it rubbed on your shirt and your bra, and it was just so painful. And the stomach cramps, which they say because when you breastfeed, your uterus contracts smaller, quicker than if you don't breastfeed. But I didn't have that issue with my son, so it was all new to me, and it was so painful, so painful. But that only lasted for about 2 weeks. And then, isn't that funny, baby? And then I was fine. It didn't hurt no more. And I feel very good that I'm able to easily breastfeed her. Because even my boyfriend comments, you breastfeed her so much easier than Camilo. I'm like, yeah. I don't know. Maybe it was because my body was not used to it before. What is that? What's when she slobbered on me? Yeah, funny, baby. He's like, it's crazy because I can just... She can, like, at this age, she can latch herself on. Like, if I go to feed her, she'll grab my boob and just feed herself, basically. I don't have to direct her or anything, which feels very good. Which, I wanted to breastfeed my son until 10 months. That didn't happen. I ended up breastfeeding him for about 4 months, and then for 6 months he was on formula, and then at 10 months he was regular food. For her, she's 6 months old now, as of yesterday. So I still have about 4 more months of breastfeeding her, and then I'm going to have her on only regular food. And, hi. But a couple things I suggest is everybody's different. So you may have issues where you literally can't breastfeed. But if your doctor is telling you you can do it, I didn't really believe them when they kept telling me that. I'm like, no. You don't understand, I'm having issues with this. So if your doctor is saying you don't have any issues, try and do it a little bit longer, because a lot of people I know, they thought they couldn't, and they had trouble the first couple days, so they gave up. And I think it's very... Don't stand on the computer. It's so worth it, I think, because your bond is so much greater. You can lose a lot of weight. I gained a lot of weight after having my son and my daughter afterwards. I didn't gain any weight during I didn't gain any weight during my pregnancy. I lost a lot of weight with both of my kids. I gained after because I breastfed for the first at least 4 months after both of them. And breastfeeding causes you to gain so much weight if you don't do it right. At least for me, because you can burn a lot. Breastfeeding burns a lot of calories. So if you don't, if you don't watch your, breastfeeding can be an amazing way to lose weight because you burn about 500 calories as they get older because they eat more and more as they get older. So I think at this age, she's burning I'm burning 500 calories, about 500 calories feeding her because she's exclusively breastfeeding. So you can lose weight easily breastfeeding, but it's so hard. At least it is for me. It was for me because after both of them, I gained at least 16 pounds with both of them. And I've been losing weight now because I'm watching what I eat now because it will make you so much hungrier, so much more hungry. I really recommend water because you get so thirsty with water. It's like, especially at the beginning, every time I'd breastfeed, I'd be like, Raymond, can you bring me a water? Because you just get so thirsty. Your mouth gets instantly dry because it takes a lot on your body. And you need a lot of water. I never had issues with milk production. I had issues with latching, but never milk production. So I've heard if you have issues with milk production, drink a lot of water. And the more water you drink, even if you don't have milk issues, the more water you drink, the more milk you can make if you want to pump and save. I've never done that. I've never been able to do that like that. I never really tried, but it didn't come easily. I don't know if it comes easily for others, but I just stick to straight breastfeeding. But yeah, so a lot of things, oh my goodness, bless you. A lot of things I would recommend would be, one, after they're born and you start breastfeeding, watch what you eat because you're going to want to snack and eat. But if you're not wanting to gain weight or if you're trying to lose weight, don't do it. Just stick with your regular calories you should be eating. Ask your doctor. Say, with breastfeeding, if I'm wanting to lose weight or if you're trying to stay the weight, how many calories should I stay with? And they'll tell you and just stick with that. Because I started doing that and... What happened? Are you okay? I started doing that and I stayed within the calories and I easily lost weight. So just follow what your doctor recommends with that. But just watch it because you can easily gain weight because you're just so hungry all the time. At least I was. And same other tip is push through, like especially with my daughter. It was so painful, like my stomach cramps, my nipples, so painful for the first 2 weeks. After that, I haven't had no issues because your body really will adapt to do what you need to do, I think. And I would just really recommend, even if you think, you don't understand, it's a different kind of problem, if your doctor says it's fine, push through, see what happens. Because the pain I was having, I'm like, this is not going to go away. This is not going to go away. It's so painful. It's not a good latch. But it did. It went away. I haven't had any issues since her first month. And I love it because it's just so much closer of a bond. Oh my goodness. So I would just highly recommend it. Your ponytail is all up and crazy. Another tip is lots and lots and lots of nipple cream whenever they're sore. And when you're just first starting out in general, to keep them from getting sore. Because you don't want them to get sore. If you're lucky enough to not have them sore, keep up on the cream so they don't become sore. It is so painful and they take forever to heal. What else was it? Took forever to remember, but my other tip is drink lots of water. Lots of water. And I just had it. Where'd it go? Don't substitute formula if you don't have to. Try, and if you want to keep your milk without any issues, if you can, stay with either pumping or exclusively breastfeeding. Because I guarantee you, it will mess it up. I had so many issues after, like a day after I had issues. So just stick with breast milk if you can. Drink lots of water, lots and lots of nipple cream. Push through and just try and listen to your doctor. And just look around at other people's tips. All my stuff I had to learn the hard way because people told me, but I didn't believe it, and I thought I knew everything, and they were right. So with my daughter, I'm very happy with how it's turned out. Like, the pain was awful first couple weeks, but after that, no issues. I've been losing a lot of weight since breastfeeding her, which I'll talk about in another video, how to lose weight while breastfeeding, how I did it, because so far, in the past 2 months of me doing it, I have lost about 22 pounds. So if you guys are wanting to see that, let me know, and I'll talk about that in another video. But yeah, breastfeeding is definitely a great choice if you can, and just try and push through, because it definitely is a journey. Each time breastfeeding was totally different, and there's different downfalls to both, different upsides. So just try and listen to your body, listen to your doctor, do what you think is right, but what you think is right isn't always the right thing, because look at me with the formula. So just try and do what you think and just push through. But yeah, so please like and subscribe, and leave me a comment on anything you're trying to see or anything you want to see. And yeah, thank you for watching.